Something very peculiar happened today. I got up rather late, and when Mavra brought in my clean shoes, I asked her what the time was. When she said it was long past 10, I rushed to get dressed. Mind you, when I got to the office, you should have seen the sour look I got from the head of our department. Which I hadn't got in at all. He's been saying to me quite a lot recently, "What's wrong with you, Papristi? You rush around like a madman. Make such a mess of your work, the devil himself couldn't sort it out. You start paragraphs with small letters, you leave out the date, you sometimes leave out the reference number altogether. Damned old buzzard." Anyway, I woke up late, so I grabbed my umbrella, teeming down outside, and my coat, and I went out into the street. Now, there was hardly a soul about. A couple of peasant women sheltering under their skirts, one or two merchants, and a couple of servants. As for better class people, well, there weren't any. Not strictly true. There was one of our civil servants standing at the crossroads. The minute I saw him, I thought, well, you're not going to the office, are you? No, my friend, you are looking at that little girl dashing along on the other side of the street and getting a look at her pretty ankles into the bargain. Good God, what beasts our civil servants are, really. You know, I'm sure that any one of them would leave any officer standing just to dash after anything in a bonnet they can get their claws into. Well, I was engrossed with these thoughts and didn't notice at first that a carriage was coming down the street. Now, it passed a shop I was in front of, and I realised, I knew that carriage, it belonged to our director. Strange, I thought, he can't be wanting anything in that shop, so perhaps he's called it for his daughter. I flattened myself against the wall and waited. A footman came out, opened the door, and out she fluttered, you know, just like a little bird. God in heaven, the way her eyebrows and her eyes flashed, first to the right and then to the left, I thought, I am lost forever. Strange she should venture out in all that rain, though, and just try and tell me women aren't mad on clothes. Luckily she didn't see me, because, well, for starters, this old coat is covered in stains, and it's gone out of fashion a long time ago. They're all wearing those coats with the long collars now, but this is a short one with one over the other. And you could hardly say the cloth had been waterproofed either. Well, now, she went into the shop, but I noticed her little dog wasn't quite quick enough to nip in after her and stayed out in the street. Now, I'd seen that dog before. She's called Meggie. I hadn't been there more than a minute when I heard a faint voice say, "Hello, Meggie." I thought, well, that's strange. Who's that talking? But then I saw an older lady and a younger, quite attractive girl underneath an umbrella. But then they'd already gone past when I heard that voice again. "Shame on you, Meggie." And I saw there was a dog that had been following the two ladies, sniffing around Meggie. And then I saw Meggie mouth these words. "No, actually, I've been very ill." Can you believe? I thought I must be drunk, but I hardly ever drink, so, well, I was staggered, obviously, to hear a dog talking just like a human being, but it happened. When I reflected on it, I thought perhaps it's not so strange after all. I remember hearing something, yes, I read in a journal somewhere, about a fish in England, I think it was, that swam to the surface of a lake and said 2 or 3 words in a language so strange the professors have been trying for 3 or 4 years to work out what it said, and still without any success. There you go. But honestly, I was much more staggered when I saw Meggie say this. "Polkan could not have delivered my letters." I mean, come on, a talking dog is one thing, but a dog writing? I mean, we know that a nobleman can write. All right, well, you hear of tradesmen and even serfs who write, but they don't write properly. I mean, they have no sense of style, and, you know, there's no commas or full stops or anything. They write simply like machines. Well, this was very peculiar, but if I'm being honest, several things have happened recently. I've heard and seen things I'd never heard or seen before. So I thought, perhaps the best thing to do is just follow the two ladies and the little dog and find out more. So I unrolled my umbrella because it started to come down again, and I followed the two ladies. We went down Gorokovaya Street and then left onto Meshchanskaya Street, crossed Stolyanaya Street, and we stopped in front of Kokushkin Bridge, in front of a large house. And I thought, I know that house. It's Zverkov's. Oh, it's a dump. It's full of cooks and foreigners and all kinds of civil servants. They live one on top of each other like dogs. Well, I tried to work on for about another hour. But then one of those footmen came in. God, I cannot stand that brood of flunkies. They're always sprawled out in the hall somewhere, you know, and it's as much as they can do to give you one small civil nod of acknowledgement. Once, one of those ignorant pigs even offered me snuff, without standing up. God. Well, I picked up my coat and my hat, myself, because of course none of those fine gentlemen would dream of helping you, and I left the house. When I got home, I simply lay on my bed for a long, long time. Later in the evening, I copied out some very fine poetry. An hour without you is like a year gone by. Look how wretched my life's become. Without you, I simply fret and sigh. It must be something by Pushkin. November the 6th. So I went to the office. Can you believe? The head of our department dragged me in and took this line of questioning with me. What exactly do you think your game is? Why, nothing, I said. Oh, really? Think a bit harder. How old are you now? You're older than 40, aren't you? Don't think I don't know what you've been doing. You've been following the General's daughter. Good God, what are you thinking of? Look at you, Proprishchin. Who are you? You're a no one. You're an absolute nobody. You haven't got a kopeck to bless yourself with. Imagine you having thoughts about the General's daughter. Well, to hell with him. I tell you, his own face reminds me of one of those stupid fat bottles you get in chemist shops. You know, with the tuft of stuff at the top, the way he pomades his hair and has it in curlers and prances around the... You know, that man, he has a little gold watch hanging outside his waistcoat and he pays, I don't know, 30, 40 rubles for a pair of shoes and he thinks he's Lord bloody God Almighty. I tell you what, there'll come a time when I'm a general or a colonel, possibly something even higher, God willing, and then we'll see that he's not the only person that people need to look up to around here. Do you think I'm the son of a commoner, or a tailor, or a non-commissioned officer? No, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll go to a Rus and I'll get a coat cut in the very latest style. I'll buy a cravat and I'll knot it just like he does, and he won't be fit to clean my boots. It's just I'm a little short of money at the moment is all. I went to the theatre today. It was excellent. It was a play about the Russian fool, Filatka. I could not stop laughing. Next day, I went to the office at 8 a.m. The head of the department pretended not to recognise me. So I thought, fine, I'll play the same game. Sat down, did a little work. About 4 o'clock, I got up and I left. November the 11th. Well, today was a wonderful day. I went straight to our director's office and I sat there and sharpened 23 quills for His Excellency and 4 for her. 4 quills for Her Excellency. You know, he is such a clever man. What I'd like to do is get inside his head, see what he thinks about. I'm sure he's always hatching something or other in that fine mind of his. That's why he has all those quills around. Always ideas to scribble down. And I wish I could learn more about how all those court jokes and puns work, you know? Life at that level of society. Between you and me, often I've thought of having a good talk with our director. I'll start by saying something like, the weather's very warm, or cold, today, Your Excellency. And then I get tongue-tied, damn it. Never mind. I would love to see their drawing room. Sometimes the door's ajar and I can just see in. And sometimes the door at the other end is also open. And the luxury in there. The china and the mirrors, good heavens. Oh, and I would love to see that part of the house where Her Excellency... Yes, that's what I'd love to see. I would love to see her boudoir. Can you imagine? Little jars and files, flowers everywhere, so delicate you dare not breathe on them. Oh, and her dress hanging over a mahogany chair, more like air than a dress. Oh my Lord, just one peep into her bedroom. Oh, that would be heaven. That would be more blissful than paradise, just to see her bed. The silk sheets and the little stool where she places her tiny milky foot when she wakes in the morning. Oh, heavens above. Do you know, there was one time I almost thought of asking Meggie for some inside information. I thought of calling her over and saying, Meggie, come on, Meggie, good girl, that's it. Come on, Meggie, good girl, come on, Meggie. And saying to her, now, Meggie, we're alone now, so if you like, you can tell me everything you know about the young lady, what she thinks about, who she loves, and I won't tell a soul. But she just stuck her tail between her legs and sort of shrank to half her size and slunk out of the room without saying a word. Clever, these dogs. Diplomatic. Oh, and they notice everything that goes on. Every step you take. You know, I got the distinct feeling that she could even have spoken if she'd wanted to, but didn't out of sheer cussedness. You know something else I realised? That conversation between the two dogs on Nevsky Prospect, well, the letters. I could use the letters to find out what's going on and find out what's in the mind of that young lady. So I decided that come hell or high water, what I shall do tomorrow is I shall go to the Zverkos, I shall cross-examine Fidele, and with any luck, get my hands on all those letters that Meggie wrote to her. Yes. Obviously. So, what I did is I composed myself and I went straight down with the firm intention of cross-examining Fidele. Oh, but I can't stand the smell of cabbage. Can you? The Meschanskaya simply reeks of the stuff. I don't know if it's the people leaving their doors open or whatever, but the place reeks. I held my nose and ran for all I was worth. And those tradesmen, God, the way they let the soot just billow out of their workshops. It's getting very difficult for a civilized gentleman to take a quiet stroll. Anyway, I got to Zverkos and I checked. I was at the 6th floor, composed myself, and rang the bell. Well, when the door opened, a very pretty girl answered, and I recognised it was her with the freckles from the day underneath the umbrella with the older lady. She blushed, and I could see straight away the poor dear needed a boyfriend. Well, she looked at me and she said, what do you want? I said, well, I've come to speak to your dog. You could tell the girl was very, very stupid. But at this moment, the dog had already seen me, had come running out, ow, and yapping at my heels. But it was too late, because I'd seen the basket, which is what I was after. So I rushed down, looked under the straw, rummaged around, and found a bundle of papers. Now, Fidele didn't like this one bit, and she came over and sank her teeth into my thigh. Well, I threw her off, and I said, she started whining at me. Ow, ow, ow. But no, I looked at her. No, my dear, goodbye. And I left. Now, the girl must have thought I was quite mad because she looked scared out of her wits. Oh, there must be something of a little more sense in it. Let me have a look at another page. Right, let's see. My mistress Sophie was sitting by a table and sewing. Suddenly a footman appeared and announced Teploff. Sophie got very excited, picked me up and said, "Oh, Medji, Medji, if only you could see him, his black whiskers and his uniform and his black shining eyes as bright as fire." With that, Sophie ran upstairs. Then Teploff came in the room, a young court chamberlain, stroked his whiskers by the mirror and looked around. When Sophie dashed down again, she ran in and curtsied gaily when he clicked his heels. There doesn't seem to be any sense to her actions. Well, I agree, this isn't right. How can she be swept off her feet by some young court chamberlain like that? No. She seems to have these feelings for him, but it's so absurd. I think if she can care for him, she can care the same for that civil servant who has a desk in Papa's study. You should see him. He is so ugly, just like a tortoise in a sack. Let's see which civil servant she's talking about. His name is very peculiar, and he sits sharpening quills all day. He has hair like hay, and Papa sends him out on errands when the servants are busy. I think that bloody dog is talking about me. Well, you're a wicked little mutt, you're lying. No, hold on, this is very... there's one more page, let's see if the answer's in there. There must be an explanation for this. It's some kind of a joke, I think, or something like that. Let's see. Okay, the young court chamberlain comes to the house every day now, and Sophie is madly in love with him. Papa is in very high spirits. Grigory, one of the servants who sweeps the floor and always seems to be talking to himself, says the wedding will be quite soon. Papa seems intent on marrying off Sophie to a general or a colonel or some kind of nobleman. Damn it! I'm not going to read any more of that stupidness! Why is it always that way? Why is it always that way? It's always noblemen, court chamberlains or generals, isn't it? People like me have a handful of crumbs of happiness in this life, and just as we reach out to grab, some bloody general comes along and snatches it away. Well, I tell you what, I'd like to be a general. Yep, I would. Or something higher, not just to win her, but to see them crawling around me for a change. All their puns and court jokes and high and mighty nonsense. Damn it. It's enough to make you weep. I tell you, I took that stupid dog's letters and I tore them into little bits! December the 8th, I did think about going to the office, but I couldn't get that Spanish business out of my head. It does not make sense. There must be an heir somewhere. And this thing about a woman taking the throne, it's ridiculous. A woman? Well, England wouldn't stand for it for a start. And the balance of power in Europe would be completely thrown out. The Austrian Emperor, our Tsar. No, it's no good. And it really was quite a conundrum that was starting to play on my mind. Mavra, at one point, came in to do some damn cleaning again. I was in a fit of distraction because I said to her, "Now listen, I'm trying to work something out." And she said, "Well, you're behaving very strangely." I took the plates to put on the table. Now, it wasn't intentional, but I did drop them and the thing smashed and she didn't seem very happy about it. So I went for a walk down a hill and tried to clear my head. But to be honest, I didn't find anything particularly edifying. When I got home, I I just lay on my bed for a long time and pondered this Spanish question. April 43rd, 2000. April 43rd, 2000. Today is a day of great triumph. There is a king of Spain. He has been found at last. Now, that king is me. It's me, and I can't believe how I even dreamed that I was anything else before. I spent a full hour thinking, how did I ever get the idea of being a titular councillor into my head? I feel so free now. It's like, I don't know, it's like before my brain was enveloped in a kind of mist, but now everything is very, very clear. And the way ahead, well, it's as bright as daylight. First thing I did was tell Mavra who I was. Now, she seemed concerned and sort of wrung her hands, but I gave her a few kind words from the new sovereign and persuaded her that he wasn't at all worried about her or the fact that she sometimes made a mess of my shoes. The silly woman, she seemed to be bothered by the fact that I don't resemble Philip II of Spain. I said to her, please, I tried to have a decent conversation with her, but you know, you can't do it with the common herd. What I said was, I have nothing at all in common with Philip II, and besides, I don't have a single Capuchin friar under my sway. Yes. Did I go to the office? Absolutely not. No, my friends, you won't catch me copying out any more of your filthy documents. 86th of Martober, sometime between day and night. Well, one of those pigs from the office came and tried to tell me, you haven't been at the office for 3 weeks, Poprishchin, you should come in and do some work. So I thought, all right, I'll go to the office and do some work, you know, just for a joke. But when I got there, you should have seen the head of our department. He seemed to think, for some reason, that I would bow and scrape. But I did nothing of the sort. No, he sat me down at my desk, sternly, and told me to make some abstracts. So I sat down and pretended to do some work. But actually, I didn't lift a finger. Just looked around at all that clerical scum, and I thought, well, if they had half an idea of whom they were now sharing an office with, they'd all start fawning over me and doing up their top buttons and getting first in line to bow to me like they do when our director comes in the office. Stand up when he comes in. Never. Well, they all jostled to be first in line when he did enter. But the funniest thing was this. I didn't move. They gave me a document to sign after that. Now, they clearly thought that I had put my name in the middle where it says clerk number so-and-so. But I did nothing of the sort. I just went to the bottom of the page where the director normally signs, and like this, I put my name. Ferdinand the Eighth. The awed silence that descended upon them was amazing. I just said, really, my loyal subjects, there's no need for this show of loyalty, and I got up and I left. Well, now, obviously what I did was go straight then to the director's house. Now, I went to enter, the director wasn't there, and the footman didn't want to let me in at first. But what I told him made his arms drop limply to his side, and I went straight to her boudoir. Well, I went in. Now, she was a little shocked. She stood up, she was doing her hair, but I presented myself and said, my dear, I didn't tell her I was the King of Spain, not for now. I just said, my dear, happiness as you have never imagined lies ahead of us, despite hostile plots against us. And with that, I thought I'd said enough, and I left. But it was at that moment that I realised how crafty women can be. Oh dear. Has anyone ever really worked out who women are really in love with? No. Well, I have. They're in love with the devil. And I'm not joking. You know when you go to the theatre, you'll see some grand lady in her ball gown and she's got a little silver lorgnette that she raises to look at some fat idiot in a uniform with a medal. Do you think she's really looking at him? No, no. She's looking at the devil behind him, beckoning with his finger. And now he's there, now he's there, now he's there. Oh! And make no mistake, she'll marry him. And all the courtiers that she hangs around with, oh yes, they say that they're only interested in the nation and the good for the people, but actually all they want is money from rents. They sell their mothers and fathers, the Crawlerses, the Judases. And this ambition, they say this ambition is caused by a bubble, which has a tiny worm inside with underneath the tongue, just there. Now, they say the person responsible for it is a barber, Gogol Street. With some midwife, they're colluding to turn the whole world to Mohammedanism. The word is, the entire population of France is already practicing the faith. It wasn't a date. The day didn't have one. I took a walk down on Nevsky Prospect. His Imperial Majesty drove past. I didn't reveal my identity. I doffed my cap like everyone else. I didn't think it was right to reveal my true identity without being first presented at court. I felt that was contrary to etiquette. One of the main reasons I haven't done it so far is I don't have a proper cloak. I thought about going to one of those tailors on the Meshchanskaya or Gorokhovaya Street, but they're all such crooks. You pay your money and they make a hash of your job, end up doing shady transactions and, living on the street. So I thought, no, I know what I'll do. I'll use my uniform, which I've only worn twice, and I'll make my own mantle. So I borrowed a pair of scissors from Mavra, and I shut myself up in my room and made it, in secret, because the design is completely different. Now I don't know what date it was, and if there was a month, I'm damned if I know what the name of it was. The cloak is ready now. Ah! Mavra screamed when she saw it, silly cow. I still don't think I should present myself. Now, contrary to etiquette, I'm going to wait until the Spanish deputation comes for me. I think that would be proper. I'm sure they'll be here any minute soon. Madrid, 30th February. Now, I'm in Spain. And it happened so suddenly. I was waiting at home, a carriage arrived and I was bundled into the back, top secret. But I got there so fast. I mean, within 30 minutes, we were at the Spanish border. Then I thought about it. The railways are now covering most of Europe, and of course ships move extremely fast, so there I was in Spain, and it's a very strange place. The first room they ushered me into was full of people with shaven heads. But then I realised they're probably grandees, no, or soldiers, because I know that the soldiers are in the habit of shaving their heads over there. protested, but I had... Ow! 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 Oh. He struck me at least 3 times, and I realised this is probably a test. It's probably a test, so I should keep quiet. Yes, I'm sure it's one of those initiation rites that they do when they're putting a Spanish nobleman into a very, very high rank. So I thought, I understand the rules of this game. I thought it was better perhaps to occupy myself with government business. The first thing that I did was I thought about the China-Spain problem. I realised that China and Spain are actually one and the same country. And if you don't believe me, just you try writing China. Just you... Mute. You end up writing Spain. But I couldn't think about it for too long because I found there was a matter of greater urgency, which is that tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, the Earth, ladies and gentlemen, is going to land on the moon. I know there was an account written by the celebrated English chemist Wellington. Well, this is a problem because, as we all know, the moon is a very, very delicate sphere. I don't know why the English don't do something about it, because the moon is manufactured in Hamburg by some crippled cooper and he makes a bloody hash of it. His materials, I don't know, but it's something like rope, tar and linseed oil, which of course makes it very, very insubstantial and causes a great stink, which is why... it's why we all have to run around with our noses stopped up. And it explains why we can't see our noses.